Carl and Louis here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life. You know what time it is, tier list time. And we are going to be ranking 30 of the best, most iconic horror movie scenes that exist, taken from a wide array of the internet, plus a couple of personal ones thrown in there, here and there. 30 of them, ranking them in 5 different categories, kind of decide what is the scariest and maybe what isn't so much. It's certainly going to be down to individual tastes more than anything else. We have 5 categories. We are the very top one, the scariest. Just simply the scariest shit. It really, really works. Below that, pretty creepy. Middle, does something.
Yeah.
E.g., it might get a little reaction to you. Maybe not as scary as some people imply and things like that. The first of the lowest ones, is that it? Yep. And last but not least, yawn-inducing. I'd be very surprised if any of them really make this category, the bottom 2. Because I have kind of chosen 30 of the best,
so.
you know. I didn't really want to trawl through what people are the worst, because it gets complicated. What's scary, what's gory, what's violent, and where the balance is.
It's an opinion as well.
It is an opinion, it is. You can go on many websites and find long lists. It's still going to be down to an individual taste, which is very much what this is. This is going to be down to our individual tastes and whether or not we agree on certain ones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, we're going to get started then, yeah?
Yeah.
We're going to kick off with 28 Days Later.
Okay.
Now, that's got a couple that could be in this, but I decided one of the more scarier scenes is when Cillian Murphy, his character goes into the church, and it's all the dead bodies, and he says hello, and a lot of them sit up and sort of turn and look at him, which is exactly the picture I've used here. Now, for me, this was the first moment in the film where you're like, oh, that's really... Because they just turn and stop and look at him. And then you hear the pounding of the priest come running up the stairs and stuff like that. For me, this is effective. For me, this is... I would put this in pretty creepy. Not scary, because I think...
Unsettling.
It's very unsettling, because at this point, you don't know anything what's gone on. Not just for him, but us as well.
Yeah, because you wake up and see things through his perspective, don't you?
Yeah,
Which is good.
Yeah, we're not... When he's out of it, in his coma, we're not privy to knowledge what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you get the introduction with the monkey and stuff like that, but we're not privy to what occurred in London, around the city and the country. So when he wakes up in the bed and then is walking around to the deserted streets and all that, we're in exactly the same thing. And he goes to a church because in times of the apocalypse and in times of the end times, many people would go to a church. That is well known.
I would, because there's big stone buildings.
So it was not so much that. No, it's not about the protection. No, so you're thinking like that. You're forgetting the real reason why people are going to the church.
They would grasp at something religious.
Yes.
Yeah, fair
you know, that is what that is. It's the religious aspect. Because he ends up going there himself for that reason. And obviously then you come in and you find all his dead bodies, which is a horrible scene anyway. And then you get that whole, okay, some of them are alive. But then why are they, you know, the picture's that bloke who's just turns and is wide-eyed staring at him, you know? So for me, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah. I'd agree with that one.
Perfect.
Yeah, we agree on that one.
Yep, nice and easy.
Yep.
Continuing with the theme of those movies, the next one is 28 Weeks Later. Now, for me, it's the opening sequence in this more than anything else. Not the part in the house, it's the part that follows where Robert Carlyle's character, I can't remember the character's name, runs and leaves his wife behind in the home, and he's running across those fields, and you get those wide swooping shots of the infected joining the chase, and more of them. He's legging it, they're chasing after him, and obviously gets to the boat scene. It's that wide open shot of them just keep coming. That does it for me.
I would say it's scary because the first film, it's establishing what they are. This film, you know what they are, but just the scale and like the desperation of Robert Carlyle, I'd say that would be more scary because you put yourself in that position.
So what, you're saying the top rank, the scariest?
Not scariest.
Because I know where I would put it. I think it's effective, but it's still, it's the shot more than anything else. So for me, it goes middle, does something. E.g., it does something for me where I remember it and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty grim.
Yeah.
But they're not new, we're not new to what they are or things like that. So for me, it's middle of the road. Does something.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well.
Okay. All right. One of the most iconic scenes, it is the chest-bursting scene from Alien. 1979's Alien, of course, everybody knows this scene. This is where the alien makes its first reveal after John Hurt's character, I can't remember the character's name, has woken up from his coma. The facehugger's apparently come off him and died. He seems fine. They're all sitting down to eat, nice little chirring and chattering, and he starts to convulse and all that, ends up at the table. And, of course, a little mini alien, little baby alien, pops up out of his chest to the shock of everybody. It's been parodied to fuck, which doesn't help its, scare factor. Impact. And I actually think there's a scarier scene in Alien, a much more effective one later on. I didn't include in this list because this is the iconic one. The one inside the tunnels and the torch and it lights up and then the alien just reveals itself in the darkness and then it cuts. That's way more effective. But this is iconic. The question is it scary? Is it the scariest? Is it creepy? Does it do something? Is it more disappointing overall? I mean, you kind of have to take the fact that you've seen it probably loads and loads and loads.
Yeah.
And that, as I said, it's been parodied to death. That takes away from it, So, what are you thinking about this one?
Because you're trying to imagine like seeing it for the first time.
I do remember seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of impact. I'd say it's more... Because now we've got the two characters are scariest and pretty creepy. It is pretty scary. I think the whole convulsing and...
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they thought everything was fine.
Yeah, and he seemed like everything is fine. He's talking, he's eating, they're having it's a very, very jovial conversation. Everything seems good.
And then
he starts coughing, and that's where that kicks in. For me, I think because of its iconic nature, I think it has to go in pretty creepy top.
Yeah.
Even though it's not creepy in the conventional sense, it's got that whole...
Yeah. Oomph.
Yes, absolutely. It really, really does. And kind of that's the moment the Alien franchise is kick-started properly, Yeah. Okay, an odd one here. And this is where I was struggling to get to 13. I thought, this works. And I remembered what my thought of it was at the time. It's from the movie As Above, So Below. A horrendous found footage movie. And I don't mean just be terrible movie. It's horrendous because of what it promises and what it delivers are so different. And the specific point I remember in this movie where I got super stoked was when they get to the tunnel entrance and have the words written above in that language, Sumerian, whatever it is.
Aramaic?
It might be Aramaic, Arabic, something like that. And it basically is the words that are supposed to be above the gates of hell. Abandon all hope, ye who enter. And that was like, oh my God. Hell, we're going to do that shit, and ultimately it isn't that crap. I mean, it's just a bog standard found footage, monsters in the dark thing, and so on. But that scene there, to me, is what I remember specifically about this movie. Is seeing that, it's the picture there, and being like, you doing something right in horror. You're getting my imagination going.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to include it.
So I'd say does something.
It does something. It does something because it does get those juices flowing.
Yeah, and it's just like this could be good, but we don't see the full impact of it. And you don't see anything but those. Yeah, I'd go does something. Yeah,
it'd be easy to put this lower because of the movie overall, but we are trying to judge it specifically on the scenes. Yeah. And I remember it, considering it's such a tosh movie.
Yeah.
I remember that, but I'm going to put it below 28 Weeks Later.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, up next, iconic again, could have chosen many, many scenes, and I chose the one of his entrance. It is Candyman, and it is the scene inside the garage, the stone garage, where he's first introduced, so to speak, and he speaks to Helen from across the way with that gravelly voice, and you only see him in the shadows and stuff like that. It's an introduction that has a ton of impact. Oh, not necessarily scary.
No, I think there's other moments that are scarier for me, like when she wakes up and there's all the blood everywhere in the flat and things like that. I find they're more impactful. I'd go does something because it's a good introduction.
It's the voice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy with does something, top of does something, because I think it's the introduction of an iconic character that has a ton of tension and feel to it.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to J-horror, because of course there are going to be a few J-horrors here. And we're going to Dark Water. Again, I could have picked many out from this, but I decided to go with the lift scene at the very end. So to describe it, shit's gone down in a flat. She manages to get a door. Her daughter's been put in the bathtub. She thinks she's got a door out. She runs to the lift. The water's dripping down. And she's got a daughter cuddle up to her in the lift. And then you see, the lift doors aren't closing because of the electricity and all that. And then you can see her flat door down the hallway beginning to slowly open. She's thinking it's going to be the villainous girl and all that. And then the door opens and her daughter comes out. And then she realises what she's holding is the actual... And she grabs her throat. And then, of course, obviously the lift door's closed. When the little girl comes along, she ends up running downstairs to try and meet the lift. And when the lift doors open, it just water just bursts out and the mother's gone. Brilliant stuff. This to me is incredibly creepy. It builds it because she's like, the door's slowly opening as she's watching, and you're like, you're in it because you don't fucking know any different.
They're the masters of that, though, aren't they? So things like, say, like...
They can be, they can be, absolutely.
Really build up on that.
I think this is where the word creepy really does apply, and with the strong payoff. For me, this is top of Pretty Creepy above Alien.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because say you're so, like the mum, you're so intensely focused on the door, and when you realise it's not.
And that, her realisation is our realisation, and that's your payoff.
And that's the best kind of moments.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now we're going to one of my favourite horror movies of all time. It is Demons. It is Demons, 1985's Demons. 85, 84? Can't remember. 85.
I think it's 85.
I think it is 85. Same year as Return of the Living Dead. It is Demons, and while obviously quite slapstick at times, quite silly at times, it has got some pretty terrifying stuff. And I have chosen, of course, it is in another video where I talked about my 10 most iconic horror moments to me. It is this exact scene. And this is where they break out of the auditorium, of the lower floor of the cinema, and you get that slow motion shot with the blue lighting behind them of these demons coming up the fucking stairs. And I was done. That was me as a kid. Terrified, nightmares. And many, many years later, here I am, loving it. For me, this is the scariest. I think up to this point, the terror, the transformation scenes we'd seen, the level of violence these things inhibit, the uncontrollable nature of them all, to then see them en masse breaking up with that lighting and that mood and all that. I mean, what the fuck, man? That is death.
Yeah. You can just say there's no escaping it.
Are you disagreeing? We won't want to put it.
I don't know, because say sometimes it still makes an impact on you now, then that's surely... then that is scary because it still does its job.
I always say as well, like this, I always like to think, right, when a scene is so iconic, it ends up being sometimes the cover. This shot would become the cover of many of the variations on it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the scariest. Let me have this one. If you find one later on, you can disagree. But for me, it's the scariest because of its impact. It's just like a crazy scene for me. Yeah, absolutely. We now go to an interesting choice, but one I'm sure you're going to go straight away and go, of course, it had to be. We are going to Grave Encounters 2.
Ah, yes.
And it is, again, one we previously mentioned in videos, and it is the lift scene. We are talking about the part where the people involved think they have escaped and gone back to their hotel room, packed up. And on the way out, they pass a hotel maid.
Yep.
They get into the lift, and then we get a brief shot as the doors close, which is the picture you see there, of the maid standing still, staring at them. And even now, as I say it, I feel my body go, the creep up.
Yeah.
And that there's, you're like, oh. And then the lift goes down, and of course the lift doors open, and they're in the basement of the hospital. There is no escape. Death awaits. It's not. Here's the thing: the first movie's 10 times better.
Yeah.
It really is. Go check out the singular reviews we did. See our opinions of both Grave Encounters and Grave Encounters 2. The first one was better, but this one scare
Kind of
is better than almost anything in all the movies.
I'd go. It's got to be in Pretty Creepy.
Top of Pretty Creepy, because it generally gets you going. Ooh, it's just the way she stands there and watches them, and you're like, and it's so quick as well because the doors are closing, and the main character even looks at her, and it's like something tweaked in his brain.
Something's gone wrong.
Yeah. Top of Pretty Creepy, innit?
Definitely.
Absolutely. Oh no, wrong place.
Right in front.
Move it around. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've got it wrong again.
You said Top of Pretty Creepy.
Yeah, I know. I've moved it around. There it is. Right place. An interesting one here, and I debated putting this in, but I ended up putting it in because when I thought of this particular scene, I was like, yeah, you know what? That's pretty good. It's from It Follows, a movie I personally believe is incredibly overrated. Not as good as people thought it was or made out to be. And weirdly enough, I think as time's gone by and people are getting a little bit more rejectful of, it wasn't that good and things like that, which is a funny way to behave. It had some cool shit and some clever ideas. It's one of those where it's like, so like the monster eventually becomes like less impactful because suddenly when it comes to the main girl, it ain't just killing them, it's throwing them and things like that. But it had some interesting ideas and some interesting scary scenes. There's a part early on where the old lady's walking towards her in the school. That shit, or the part where the naked man is watching her from the roof.
Oh, yeah.
But the one that really, really gets it is when the big tall dude comes stepping out of the darkness to kill her friend. And it's just like she's in front of that door, it's what's there, and he just steps forward and grabs her. That shit is super fucking impactful. Yeah. I think it's a good scene.
I said it's the simplicity of things sometimes. sometimes they go like overboard on scares, and it's like, yeah, just literally coming out of the darkness and just grabbing her, no kind of struggle, just scooping her up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it does something.
Yeah.
Middle of the road, and I might put it after Candyman.
Yeah. That seems a fair one. Yeah.
Yeah. This was a fun one to put in, and it came to my mind. I was like, yeah, we'll go into Jaws, the shark movie, Jaws. And I've chosen, because I was like, okay, there's a jump scare in it involving the body under the boat and all that, but I actually think the real impact comes when he's scooping at the chum into the water and he's talking to the other guys in the boat. And he goes back to it, and all we see is the shark rise up, the first proper shot of the shark, and then he sees it, and he obviously backs up, and obviously it leads to the iconic, bigger boat scene as well. But man, oh man, that is fucking excellent.
It is, and I can always picture, it'd be great to watch, say to see that in the cinema when it first come out, and just see people like the popcorn just going everywhere.
That's the first proper sighting of the shark as it is, in the day and the clarity and stuff like that, and it's just...
Are you going to call him by his real name?
The shark.
Jaws.
Please let us know in the comments. What is the name of the shark in the movie Jaws? It doesn't have a name, right? Or, I mean, I know you can do the whole Bruce the Shark, because I'm pretty sure that's what they called him on the set. But I mean, in the context of the film, it is not called Jaws.
I will not let it.
Jaws is just the name of the film.
But yeah, I feel like I can just always picture that part of when you see it when it first came out in cinemas and people watching it with their popcorn and stuff like that. And it was just people just like screaming and popcorn flying everywhere. I'd go with the scariest, just because of the way it's done. Because you're focusing on him, he's not focused on it.
They've not been doing much on the boat. It's been jovial. Even the scene's quite jovial. I think what really helps is it's a really bright, sunny day for this.
So they're bold in their decision, because obviously you see the shark properly. Yeah, I'd go with the scariest.
Yep, I had demons, so I'm going to give it that. It goes after demons, though.
Yep.
Paranormal Activity. The first in the franchise, and here I've chosen the scene where she stands over him one night in bed, and the camera speeds up really fast to show that it was basically for hours. I think this is one of Paranormal Activity's strongest scares, where it's simplicity and it's just like, oh, that's so uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah,
I think it's very, very good. I think it's pretty creepy.
I definitely agree, pretty creepy.
Question is where?
Yeah,
Bottom.
I think bottom, creepy. So it's kind of like there's been better, but in that film, yes, this what's implied. Yeah, that's where it starts to kind of ramp up the creep factor.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then we're going to Paranormal Activity 3, one of the strongest in the franchises, and we're going to the scare that we praised heavily in other parts, and it's to do with the bedsheet in the kitchen. And this is, of course, a really well built up scene as we're using a camera on a fan, because of the old the area it was in, to slowly go back and forth across two scenes, and it takes ages doing this. Each time you're expecting something to happen and then nothing, and then you go back and then there's a person with a sheet over them behind. You go back, and you're waiting for something to happen, and then you finally get it as the sheet just drops. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really, really effective. For me, this is top of pretty creepy, the opposite end, above Grave Encounters 2.
I think it's just the build up, and when you know what the camera's attached to, it makes sense. When you've seen one of them oscillating house fans, they're not quick, because that's the point of it. You don't want a quick gust of air.
Yep.
And the fact that nothing comes rushing out, or it's not like a corpse or a melting face. It's just a sheet over a silhouette, and it just drops away. Yeah. Definitely pretty creepy.
I just love the fact that they knew that they had it near to perfection, where it was like, no rushing. It wasn't like once back, twice scare. It was like, no, back again, 3 times, back again, and then you're like, when is it coming? And that's fucking great horror movie. That's great horror movie stuff.
And it's not a human kind of opening the door and being surprised by something. It's just you're just part of the camera work. You're just watching the cameras as much as the guys would be afterwards, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. That's why it's top of pretty creepy. No question. It could potentially even go into scariest, but top of pretty creepy seems like a good place for it. The next one, any Zelda scene from Pet Sematary. Take your fucking pick. Yeah. Whether it's the real stuff where she's in pain to the horrible stuff she does at the end. This obviously iconic character terrified just about everybody who saw her in it. I mean, from when I think of Zelda, I think of the scene where the mother, she's retelling the story of what, the night she died at home. And she's telling it to her husband, and she's trying to feed it a gruel. And she's on her back, and she's in pain, and she starts to choke. That's what always sticks out of my head, you know?
It's worse because it's a real life...
Yeah.
Like a real life disease that the girl had, and the fact that the kid was put in such an awful position. Yeah, it's just... Ugh.
Terrible parents.
And I think it's like a side of like illness that doesn't always get shown in things. Sometimes you see people like calmly suffering with their illness. It's like, no, it's awful.
Every minute of every day was suffering for her.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Yeah, and the fact that, parents just didn't seem to be that switched on that you shouldn't be leaving your kid with your ill child. Ugh. Yeah, just grim all round.
I'm cool with this one going in the scariest at the bottom.
Just like it still impacts me now. If someone says Zelda, and you just think back, you're like, ugh. Yeah,
I mean, the picture speaks volumes. It's there, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side. We're going to Henry Kane, and I've chosen the part with Henry Kane where he comes to the house and demands to be let in. So we got the rain stuff, and it's the jovial, I'm so friendly. Then he tries to stalk Stephen round. You're in danger. You've got to let me in, and all that stuff. That shit is brilliant. It's the stuff that's the highlight of Poltergeist 2. The way Craig T. Nelson almost gets hypnotised by him. The way you can almost believe what he's saying, because we don't know much about Taylor, the character Taylor. And it's his gaunt, obviously the iconic look, the gaunt face, the fact that he looks demonic, the preacher outfit, the yellowing teeth. It's
awful.
It is something quite special. I think it really is. I think it's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty creepy.
I go... and then after Paranormal Activity.
The end, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. We then come to a movie you've never seen, somehow. And we are going to Psycho, 1960s Psycho. And I have chosen the final shot of the movie here, purely because of Anthony Perkins, who is, obviously it's Anthony Perkins. This movie is absolutely wonderful. But when he's basically doing his internal monologue about how he knows he's going to get off and how he's going to get off because he's going to say this and he's going to do that, and he's looking at the camera and he does that smile and he says the line about being boy's best friend is his mother, and he's got that smile, which is the picture I've chosen, and you're just like, fuck, you're pretty, this was evil shit. Don't get me wrong, it's not like scary or creepy, that kind of thing. I think it's impactful. So for me, it's top of Does Something.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, you've never seen it, so you have to.
Never seen it, so I agree with you on that one. I'd still like to see it.
It's there, it's available, it's just, and the thing is, it's not dated either, Up next, we go to one of our favourite found footage horror movies and a recent addition to the In-Depth series. We are talking about the original Wreck. And I've chosen one of the iconic horror movie moments we covered in the past. It is, of course, the very brief, barely a couple of seconds long shot near the end of the movie where she looks and points the camera with the torch down the hallway, and all you see across every balcony is a load of zombies look up. And then you hear the pounding as they're running up the stairs. Fuck me.
Wow. Yeah, it's just that sense of, there's no stopping these guys. They're coming up to get you. There's no
but also you told them where you are.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you just gave, and you're in an apartment block at the top. Where are you going?
Yeah.
It's literally a flash scene. But honestly, it's one of the most amazing moments in the Wreck films.
Definitely.
Absolutely. For me, this is the scariest. And I will put this bottom of the scariest.
Yeah, but it's got to go in there.
Yeah, it's got to go in there. Okay, one that people might be a bit not quite maybe follow along as to why I put it here, but I kind of have to. And it's from The Return of the Living Dead, a movie that isn't filled with scares. It's got iconic scenes and stuff like that. But I chose the moment where the ambulance guys go back to the ambulance, and one of them goes to the front and accidentally knocks the lights on, and the lights light up, and you just see the front is surrounded by zombies waiting.
I think I sense there is a theme in these scenes of like a realisation, and the audience, we're seeing it for the first time as well as the people involved. I've noticed a common theme in these scary ones, which is good because like it makes you feel more part of part of the experience.
Yeah, I hated the scene.
I just feel like everything's quite manic, quite panicked. There's rain, there's storms going on. They're obviously trying to get back to their ambulance, trying to get away. Like it's pretty. I'd go for creepy.
I was gonna go. Yeah, creepy's cool. Where would I put this?
I would go.
I'm gonna go bottom of creepy. I'm gonna be fair, not overlook my love.
Yeah.
Of because I think the others potentially have more impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ring. And of course, it is the full sort of finale of Ring, where we see the full Sadako Samara, if you watch the remake, coming out of the well. So the full-on thing, the slow walk towards the screen, her coming out of the TV. Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's iconic.
It is iconic. There is a bit in the Ring, that film, that I didn't watch for the first few times I watched it. Like, I looked away.
Twisted Faces, isn't it?
Twisted Faces. I've got a thing about faces, and they stay with me for a while. So I didn't actually watch it, and I think that made it worse for me. But yeah, the whole build up and seeing it in full is.
I love when you finally see it in full, because we never have had flashes of it and we never really fully understand, but also the length of time it takes and the position of being frozen in fear as she slowly gets out and the hand comes on the well and then the next hand, she pulls her up and it's the slow walk and it's all, and you're like, what's going to happen here? And then you realise she comes out. That to me is the scariest shit. Ring is iconic. I would put this top of the scariest.
Yeah.
Top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's been parodied, but I still find it scary.
It's been parodied, but I think it still holds up. Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
We're going to 7 here. And we're going for more of a jump scare moment than anything else. And this is to do with the sin. Oh my God, I've forgotten the sin. Sloth. So this is the emancipated character that's in the bed when.
You mean emaciated?
Yeah, that one. In the bed, and they come in, and it's all the air fresheners, and they should be dead. And you think he's dead, and it goes on for ages, and they lean in close, and then it coughs. It starts to move. It's an incredible scene. Like, what the fuck?
It gave me nightmares because I watched this film way too early, and I regretted that because most of the scenes gave me a lot of nightmares. But this one in particular, just because they all think he's dead. The place is all dimmed.
I mean, the body. Yeah, like looking at the body, it should be dead. Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
And it's real life as well. So it's not supernatural. This film. That's what makes it even more impactful. There's not like a spooky ghost. You can go, it's a ghost. It's like, no, someone actually did this to someone. It's I'd go the scariest because if I watched, I would definitely go. It's awful.
I was gonna. Well, we need to find a common ground here then, because for me it was gonna be top of does something.
No,
not even in creepy.
That. Oh, it's
no.
awful. That guy was trapped for bed for a year.
Well, the middle ground is obviously it goes on pretty creepy.
Okay, yep, that's fine.
But where? Because I would put it near the end.
Can we go middle? Because then we're both.
After Alien, though.
After Alien.
Ahead of
I'd say before Alien.
No way, Alien's more iconic. That's crazy.
Okay.
That's come on. That's middle. That's literally middle ground. That is the middle ground.
I can still picture that. Ugh. Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, another one.
The Shining. And of course, it's the bathtub scene. A very well built up, well shot, well drawn out sequence of, Jack Torrance. Obviously, he goes to check the room. Then we have the naked, attractive lady revealing herself. He's enamored by her. He starts to kiss her. Sees the reflection as a decaying, bloated corpse. And obviously, we get all that. I'm going to be really controversial here. And this is my first nomination for Is That It?
We are going to have some words. That is horrendous. Like, it's just the music, I can picture when he starts. It's just a slow build of it. Like, they take their time with it. Because at first the room's open, there's lights on, someone's in there, and then you just see the full extent of the case.
It's a really well done scene. So, all right, fair enough. Is That It might be a bit harsh. It's just that I don't really love The Shining the way you do.
Oh, I'm obsessed with it.
So where would you put it then?
I'll say bottom of Pretty Creepy.
Fine. Actually, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
I can go with that. I thought you were going to go crazy higher, so I'm okay with that.
And she just laughs and I just want to watch The Shining again now.
Blair Witch Project.
Oh, I know which one.
And it's the ending. And it's Mike in the corner. Mike in the corner. I mean, I shouldn't need to explain any more than that. It's at the very finale of the movie. It's that horrible realization that is this position that was described early on in the stories. It's the last, it's the last real shot because then Heather gets hit and then drops the camera. I think this is the scariest. Yeah. I think this is the scariest. It's just that realization and just the horror of that and just being like, oh my God.
It's when it hits you as well. Like, you see him in the corner and then it takes your brain a split second to realise. You're like, oh crap, yeah. It gets me now. It really gets me feeling really creeped out. It's got to be the scariest.
Yeah, I'm happy enough to put it high as well. I'm happy enough to put it after Ring.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, like I think it's... whatever you might think of Blair Witch these days, you can't knock what was an iconic moment. The Conjuring 2.
Okay.
I've gone to The Conjuring 2 for what I think is probably the series' best scare. which is the painting of Valak, the nun.
Oh, yeah.
And the hands come round, and then it rushes forward with the painting. I think that's a really effectively done scare. For me, does something.
Definitely. I like the way that trying to take a new spin on it rather than, like behind a door or in a mirror. It's like actually a painting. It's pretty creepy when things... Because sometimes you look at paintings, they're so realistic. You're like...
It's a creepy painting as well. Yeah, like, it's a pretty creepy
it's like quite
painting.
Iconic. And the fact it actually comes to life. I'd go with does something. I've not seen Psycho. So
Well, I think I'm leaving Psycho at the top because
Okay.
Anthony Perkins does things to my giblets. No, I'm joking.
I'd go for just...
Above Candyman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where it goes. I think that's where it goes. If you've seen it, you know the next one. It is The Exorcist 3. And of course, you're straight away probably going, of course. And it is, of course, that very long shot of the corridor where life is going around, late night, nurse is busying around. You see her walking back and forth, doing her bits and pieces. And then in the final shot, I'd say you've relaxed almost to a degree. It's just a shot of a nurse going about business. And the last time she walks across and immediately followed by a fucking white-collar person holding clippers right behind her head.
Oh.
And it's like, wow, that is one of the most iconic Exorcist
Not seen that
overall scenes. I have. For me, it's bottom of the scariest. No, ahead of Wreck. Ahead of Wreck in the scariest.
Yeah.
There you go. That's why I'm putting it, because it's my one. We go to my favourite J-horror movie of all time. It is The Eye. And I love it, not for its scares, I love it for its emotional impact and touches like that. However, it has some fucking great scares. Yeah. And we are talking about a bit of a theme here with the other ones that have come up. The lift scene. Yeah. This is where she, on a camera, so we're about halfway through the movie and she's kind of freaking out. She's seeing dead people everywhere, that kind of thing. And on a camera, they have a camera outside the lift to show people inside it. And she sees there's someone in it in the corner, standing facing in the corner. Lift door's open, there's no one in it. She looks in the camera, still there, looks in, no one's in there. And so she gets in the lift, no one's in there. And then the camera pans around to reveal over her shoulder that there's a person standing directly in the corner. And she's desperately trying to ignore it, freaking. The music, the tension is so ramped up. And we see from her perspective, so it's close up to her face, as this figure turns, moves behind her, and then starts to turn around slowly. And, it pays off as he's fully turning around. Yep. The door was open and she runs out. Oh!
It's good stuff.
To me, it's top of scariest, alongside Ring and Blair Witch.
Yeah.
I would put it after Blair Witch. Yeah.
I feel like it's the whole corners of lifts, the slow reveal, and it's
ratcheting up tension to a degree where you just feel so fucking uncomfortable. Yeah. And I love that. 6 more to go, and we are going to an odd choice, but I think it's a cool one. The House on Haunted Hill, the remake from 1999.
Yeah.
And I am talking about the scene where the character goes to a room with a video camera and through her lens sees the doctor and a couple of nurses performing some sort of surgery. She looks up, there's no one there, looks up, looks in the camera, still there. And then the next time she looks in the camera, they all stop what they're doing, and in her camera viewfinder, look at her.
Yeah.
That, fuck me, man. Fuck off.
Yeah, because
that movie collapses in spectacular fashion. But early on, it has some genuinely brilliant scenes. We also want to give props to Jeffrey Rush, who is doing a wonderful version of Vincent Price. Yeah. In that, well worth watching. And Famke Janssen, who is really, really top-notch in that as well. But the movie collapses in itself in the dumbest way possible. Smoke monster crap and all that. But this scare early on was brilliant.
And it's been copied and not done as well.
Great.
Because I think
Grave Encounters copied it.
Yeah, I think sometimes when it's copied, they feel like when they do your final, when they do like the look away, look back again, they feel like it has to kind of rush at the screen. Whereas this one, it was just like they just look at you, and like that's another recognition of the monster has seen me now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I go top of Does Something. Would you go? I
kind of wanted to go higher. I was thinking pretty creepy, but no, top of Does Something. You know what? Yeah, you know what?
It's not in Shining level.
No, well, that's disputable, but fair enough. We go to the Omen, and it's an easy one. It's all for you, Damien. If you know that line, you know exactly what it means, and that is at Damien Thorne's birthday party. His nanny proceeds to jump from the roof with a noose tied around her neck, with the biggest smile and happiness, and saying, "It's all for you, Damien." And fuck me. What a shock moment. Yeah. It's just the fact that she's so happy about it. That's always one of the things that terrify me more. She's in the dark moment. She's happy to commit suicide in honour of the devil's son.
Yeah.
You know? Top of does something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Top
that
of does
makes
something.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
This was a fun one to pull out, and I was kind of like, you kind of just forget this film had these moments. The Sixth Sense.
Oh, there's loads in that. Oh.
But you kind of forget it because of its parodied, because of its iconic story, the fact that once you've seen it once, you can't really ever enjoy it properly a second time to the same degree. Actually, no, I tell a lie. I think first time you watch it, you love it for its surprises and its twists and its scares. The second time, you love it because you're picking and going, oh, that was acknowledgement there. And you notice the things that you missed the first time around. I think that's where it ends.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously it's an old film and it's, as I said, parodied to fuck.
Yeah.
Or would you forget some of the scary moments? And the one I chose is when he goes to the kitchen thinking it's his mother. There's the woman in the pink, and she turns around and she's like, dinner isn't ready. And she, you look what you made me do, rushes forward, has cut her wrists, and then she's just screaming at him. It's, you know, and you get it. This ghost was an abused, battered woman who eventually committed suicide. And that's horrible, man. That's horrible. And it's really, really scary. Really scary. I think this...
It's difficult because when I think scary in Sixth Sense, there's one that got me more than that. Was the one where he goes into his tent.
Oh, the pegs start coming off, right?
Yeah, the pegs start coming off.
Yeah, I thought about that one, yeah.
Yeah, because that really... but this one, again, because it's just the sadness of it as well.
Let's put this in Does Something.
Yeah.
But let's put it...
Between Psycho and The Nun.
Yeah, that's a good place for it, yeah.
Not The Nun, Valak.
Conjuring
2, yeah.
3 left, but we are doing 2 from the same film here. We're going to The Thing. We're going to do chest bursting first, or chest opening up. Of course, this is the iconic paddles scene where the chest opens up and bites off the guy's arms. And obviously that sequence of events that follows there, from the head tearing off, the fucking spider legs. It's incredible. Yeah. It's an incredibly shockingly horror movie moment. I think... Let's get this one out of the way because the next one is probably the best thing in the movie.
Yeah.
So for me, this does something, and I reckon middle, let's say after Psycho, ahead of Sixth Sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Because say you're watching... wrong one. Yeah, because you're watching it so intently, watching this whole thing so intently, you know something's starting to go wrong.
Yeah.
And then it just... Oh, it's just the rapidness of it. How quickly it kind of just goes. And,
that scene is pure escalation. Yeah. Pure escalation. Yeah. But the other scene is... what I consider to be tension horror at its greatest, at its finest, that I've seen 30, 40, 50 times, and I still sit there going, oh. And it is, of course, the blood test scene. It is the blood test scene. And that is just absolutely fucking amazing. The characters, the tension, this is horror done brilliantly, and it pays off as well. It pays it off because we do get an event that occurs at the end of it. To me, this is the scariest shit because this is pure uncomfortable horror where you and them, everybody is sitting there, them and the screen, us at home or wherever, just sitting there going, I am scared.
Yeah. Especially with like the location as well. Just everything about that film, they're stuck there. It's not like you can go, oh, we'll go and get tested somewhere else. It's like, no, we're doing this now because we're stuck in this.
And it's the reaction of when some of them are made clear, like the relief, or the guy that guy's like, well, someone, you know, and he's like, calmly, will someone just fucking, you know, that is shit. To me, it's top of scariest.
Definitely.
Simply, I think this is arguably the greatest tension moment of horror all time.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Yeah. And last but not least, we go to the lovely, wonderful Train to Busan. And I chose the moment where they have arrived at this specific destination. They've got off the train. They go through the station. It's all cool towards an army checkpoint. And as they're coming down the escalators, all you see is a wide array of army men. And then you realise they're zombies. And then when a moving escalator going down, and they all see this army of zombies just turn and start running towards them. Yeah. And it leads to that incredible chase through the train station. Many people die here. Yeah. But fuck me, that is a moment. I mean, Train to Busan is filled with moments. Yeah. A wonderful, wonderful modern horror zombie flick. But this is the one where I'm like, it's scale. It's that mass scale where you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, especially when it's like, say, the people you feel are going to help you out. And
yeah,
it's like,
they've not been able to save themselves. Yeah, how can you?
We got. Yeah.
For me, top of Does Something.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah, I was about to say, bottom of Pretty Creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to 2 rows for Pretty Creepy. As I said, nothing in the bottom 2. I don't know why I even bothered including. Could have just stuck to that. But let's just recap the scariest, what we consider to be the scariest stuff. And let's see if they belong there. Yeah. Because some might move down. So we've got The Thing, the blood test scene. We have The Ring, Sudoku's reveal, Blair Witch, Mike in the corner, The Eye, the old man in the corner, demons coming up the stairs out of the auditorium, Jaws, the reveal of the shark, Zelda, pick your fucking poison from Pet Sematary, The Exorcist 3, and the nurse scene, and last but not least, Wreck with the shot of the zombies.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think so. I think some of them people might be like, well, it's very personal. Like the Wreck thing is very personal and stuff like that. And the same with demons. We might dispute that and so on. I think it's a decent ranking.
I definitely think that, yeah.
But if you've got different thoughts, let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?